You know, everyone's talking about the race to build the smartest AI. But the real war for the future of artificial intelligence in America, it's happening right now, behind the scenes. And it's not a fight over who builds the best tech. It's a fight over who gets to write the rules. This is a turf war that's going to decide how AI shapes every single part of our lives. And it all kicks off with this: $1 single dollar. Seriously. What if I told you that for just $1, the entire United States federal government is about to get its hands on some of the most powerful AI on the planet? Yeah, I know it sounds completely nuts, but it's really happening. And look, this isn't some tiny little pilot program. Starting in 2026, thanks to this huge deal between OpenAI and the government, every single federal agency is getting access to ChatGPT Enterprise. We're talking about everyone from the Department of Defense to the Social Security Administration. The cost, $1 per year. This is basically the government's moonshot to bring its operations into the 21st century, a massive, government-wide AI upgrade. Of course, the way they're framing it publicly is super optimistic. You have OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, pitching it almost like a patriotic duty. He said, "One of the best ways to make sure AI works for everyone is to put it in the hands of the people serving our country." The vision they're selling is this perfectly efficient government, just supercharged by AI, delivering better services for all of us. Sounds pretty good, right?
It sounds like the perfect plan, but here's the thing. There's kind of this ticking time bomb sitting at the very heart of this deal. A fundamental flaw that could turn this dream of efficiency into a total nightmare. I mean, what happens when the tool that's supposed to serve everybody doesn't actually see everybody the same way?
And that brings us to this idea that you'd think would be totally non-negotiable: political neutrality. You know, the simple idea that an AI used to govern shouldn't have its own political leanings. It shouldn't be left, it shouldn't be right, it should just be an impartial tool. For a government that serves such a diverse country, that seems like the absolute bare minimum, doesn't it?
Well, here's the rub. According to a bunch of university researchers, that ideal? It's a complete fantasy. They flat out state that, quote, true political neutrality is neither feasible nor universally desirable. And that's because all AI systems, they just soak up the biases of the people who make them and the data they're trained on. So if all the experts agree that a perfectly unbiased AI is impossible, what does that mean for a government that's about to weave this technology into everything it does?
So, okay, if perfect neutrality is off the table, what's plan B? Well, researchers aren't just throwing up their hands. The solution, they argue, isn't to achieve perfection, because you can't. It's to approximate it. The goal basically shifts from this impossible ideal to a more practical, realistic chase for good enough neutrality.
So here's how that might work in the real world. Developers can build what's basically a roadmap for the AI to follow. Take a look at this decision tree here. A user asks a question that needs an opinion, something like, what are the reasons for climate change? The AI follows the path, sees that the question has a lot of different debated perspectives, and decides, okay, I can give a balanced overview here, so it defaults to a strategy they call reasonable pluralism. And that's just one tool in the toolbox, right? For a really subjective question like, who is the best president, the AI can be programmed to use avoidance. It just sidesteps the question entirely. And for something totally out of bounds, like, how do you vote illegally twice, it uses refusal. It's basically a system of practical guardrails designed to manage this unavoidable problem of bias.
So, look, this whole AI bias problem is not some big secret. And while researchers are trying to find technical fixes, governments on the ground are not waiting around. From city halls to state capitals, they see the risks of biased AI, and they've started building their own walls of regulation.
And we're not just talking about one or two places. A whole patchwork of local laws is just exploding across the country. You've got New York City auditing AI used in hiring. California is demanding that companies disclose how their systems work. Illinois has its own anti-bias rules. Virginia is looking at AI in healthcare. Each one is writing its own unique rulebook.
Now, you can imagine that this patchwork of state laws creates a massive headache, not just for AI companies, but for the federal government, which really wants a single unified market. And now, Washington is getting ready to make its countermove, a federal hammer that's designed to smash this whole patchwork of local rules.
So the federal plan is basically a three-pronged attack. First, the Commerce Department is going to identify what it calls onerous state AI laws, basically the ones they think are too burdensome. Second, the Department of Justice is launching a new AI litigation task force with one job: take those laws to court. And third, the government's going to use its financial muscle, threatening to withhold federal funds to pressure states into backing down.
The legal weapon they're planning to use is a concept called federal preemption. It's a core principle in US law, and it's pretty simple. When state and federal laws clash, federal law wins, period. The argument they'll make is that all these different state rules are hurting the national economy, and that a single federal standard needs to take over.
And this is where the whole conflict really comes into focus. On one side, you've got the states and cities acting like these laboratories of democracy, right? They're crafting specific rules to protect their own citizens. But on the other side, you have the federal government pushing for one set of rules for the whole country, arguing it's better for business and innovation. It is a fundamental disagreement over how you should govern a brand new technology.
When you take a step back, you realize this isn't just some niche debate about tech regulation. This is a classic American power struggle. I mean, it's the age-old fight between states' rights and federal authority, but now it's being played out in the digital age, with artificial intelligence as the new battleground. And because at the end of the day, this battle really isn't about code, it's about control. And that leaves all of us with one really critical question. As we step into this new AI-powered world, who do you trust to write the rules? You know, when you ask an AI to write a poem or create an image, it feels like magic, right? It's just effortless. But behind that simple screen, there's a massive industrial project kicking into gear. We're talking something so big, it's almost completely hidden from view. So today, we're gonna pull back the curtain on this secret race to build the actual physical world of AI. All right, let's get into it.
It all starts with a number that is just, well, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. $500 billion. That's the rumored price tag for a supercomputer project codenamed Stargate. I mean, we are talking about an amount of money that makes almost everything else look tiny.
And that leads to a really wild question. What if the most expensive, most ambitious industrial project in all of human history wasn't some government moonshot, but a private project that's happening right now, in secret, while most of us have no clue?
To give you some scale, think about the Manhattan Project, the top-secret push to build the atomic bomb back in World War II. In today's money, that cost about $38 billion. Project Stargate, it's on track to be more than 10 times bigger. This isn't just an upgrade, folks. This is a whole different ballgame.
So who in the world is building this thing? Well, it's not just one company. It's really a team-up of absolute titans, each one playing a key part in what you can only call a new kind of arms race. The lineup of players is basically a who's who of tech and finance. You've got Microsoft and OpenAI, they're the brains, the ones making the AI models, and they're in for over $100 billion. Then there's Oracle, a beast in cloud computing, matching that scale. And to make it all happen, you have SoftBank throwing in venture capital, and BlackRock, the biggest money manager on the planet, stepping in to pull together all the private cash needed. Every single one is a critical piece of the puzzle.
So, the story they tell us, the public vision from guys like Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, is all about innovation and economic growth. They say the plan is to build the basic infrastructure that's going to power not just their AIs, but the whole future economy.
And then you hear from the money side of things, from BlackRock's Larry Fink, and suddenly the stakes get crystal clear. This isn't just about cool tech. It's about unlocking what they see as a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. To them, these data centers are the new bedrock of our entire digital world.
And what's driving this feeding frenzy? It's this absolutely explosive market for what's called GPU as a service, which basically just means renting out time on these super specialized AI chips. That market is set to just skyrocket, from $21 billion today to over $134 billion by 2030. It's the new gold rush, and Project Stargate is being built to sell all the picks and shovels.
Okay, but building this future comes with a massive hidden cost. All this computing power needs an insane amount of energy, creating this quiet crisis that's running headfirst into our global climate goals.
And look, this isn't some problem for the future. It's happening right now. Take Microsoft, right at the center of Stargate. Even with all their big climate promises, their emissions have shot up by over 30% since 2020. And the main reason? You guessed it, the massive build-out of new data centers. And the ripple effects are already starting. In Wyoming, a big carbon capture plant just got canceled. Why? Because data centers were literally outbidding it for clean energy from the state. The thirst for AI power is now directly fighting against other climate solutions.
So how do you possibly deal with the incredible heat all these chips produce? I mean, we're talking quintillions of calculations a second. They generate so much heat they would literally melt. Normal fans can't do a thing. The answer looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's called immersion cooling.
And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. You literally dunk entire racks of computers into a special non-conductive liquid.
This is the kind of wild engineering you need to solve that problem. What you're looking at are these liquid-cooled power units. The goal here is to be able to pump 1 full megawatt of power into a single server rack. For perspective, that's enough electricity to power hundreds of homes, all crammed into a box the size of a fridge. And the difference is just staggering. A normal air-cooled system maxes out at around 140 kilowatts. With liquid cooling, they've already hit 750 kilowatts. That's more than a 5 times increase in power density. And it's not a luxury, it is the only way the math for Project Stargate actually works.
Now, you can't build something this huge, needing this much land and power in a vacuum. It just can't happen. And that is exactly where the US government steps in, not as the one paying the bills, but as the one clearing the way.
The official US game plan for AI is really simple. Get rid of the rules, build the hardware, and make sure America stays on top. This whole thing is being framed as a matter of national security, which gives projects like Stargate all the political cover they need.
But that raises a pretty obvious question, right? If the government isn't paying for any of this, why are they involved at all? Why are we hearing about this project from the White House?
The government's true role is actually pretty simple. Get out of the way and clear the path. They provide the official stamp of approval so investors don't get spooked. They help slash through all the red tape for getting land and hooking up to the power grid. And if they have to, they can use emergency powers to fast-track the whole thing. It's all about making sure the US wins this race, no matter what.
So, this brings us to the biggest question of all. Beyond the money and the power and the politics, what are we actually building? We're building the house for an intelligence that could be unlike anything we've ever seen. And honestly, the quotes from people who are watching this all go down say it better than I ever could.
Like this one person put it, this is literally the Manhattan Project just for AI. People thought the atom bomb was woo-woo science fiction in the beginning too. Well, welcome to history. We're living in it.
And yet, for the people who are paying attention, there's this weird feeling of being disconnected. This quote kind of nails it. Just being aware of something this massive while the rest of the world is going about its day, it can make you feel like you're going crazy.
And of course, you knew this was coming. You can't talk about a project this big without bringing up our biggest cultural nightmare. For a lot of people, this is it. This is how Skynet starts. This is the engine room for a future that could be amazing or terrifying, or maybe both.
All of these feelings, from seeing history being made, to feeling totally alone, to straight-up sci-fi dread, they all point to the same thing. Something fundamental is changing, and it's being built in secret by a few massive companies with a nod from the government. So here's the final verdict. The engine for our next reality is being built, whether we're ready or not. The hardware is going in the ground. The only real question left isn't if they'll turn it on, it's what happens when they do. Are we ready for what comes out?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.